Life has an uncanny way of presenting challenges at the most inconvenient moments, and often these challenges can feel like inescapable traps. Perhaps you have found yourself yearning for freedom from certain circumstances or mindsets that seem to keep you stuck. Maybe you have wrestled with feelings of inadequacy or fear that inhibit your ability to seize the opportunities right in front of you. The world can make us feel boxed in by expectations, social norms, and pressures that accumulate over time. At times, it can seem as if no matter which path you choose, you end up circling around the same old obstacles. Yet there is a secret power latent in every individual, a power that can be awakened to dismantle the stronghold of any trap we confront. People often talk about turning points or breakthroughs, but few delve into the deeper mechanics of what truly sets a person free. This text aims to dive into those deeper layers and unearth the actionable truths hidden in plain sight. The beginning of any journey to break free must start with an intense surge of determination, because the first moments are pivotal. It is in the introduction of any bold venture that we decide if we are all in or simply dabbling for a short-lived moment. The best time to gather and unify that determination is right now, while your mind is open and your desire to change is sparked. The very phrase, "break every trap," evokes an image of chains being shattered, of once insurmountable walls collapsing. It suggests a forceful, impactful step away from everything that has ever held you back. It is easy to be caught in the illusion that obstacles are primarily external, that perhaps it is a rigid system or a set of people who are thwarting your progress. While there can certainly be outside factors that challenge us, the ultimate source of freedom often lies in the shift of mindset and perspective that we adopt. People who appear unstoppable, who rise above endless trials and tribulations, are not free from external adversity. Instead, they have discovered how to reframe the meaning of each trap. They learn to see a trap not as the end, but as a signal, a lesson, or an impetus that encourages a new approach. Those who eradicate traps in their path hold a certain awareness that traps are rarely permanent. Instead, they are dynamic configurations shaped by the interplay of our thoughts, habits, and reactions. From the moment you begin to recognize that every trap, regardless of its nature, has a vulnerability, you gain the ability to dismantle it. You begin to understand that each snare in your life can be teased apart and restructured, whether it is a financial challenge, a lingering bout of self-doubt, or a toxic relationship cycle. By studying the patterns of what caught you in the first place, you start to see that every trap has an opening. This is especially true when you build a discipline of consistent introspection, self-awareness, and bold action. The path to eradication requires courage, a willingness to step outside of comfort, and the vision to trust that a solution is always within reach. If the introduction you are reading ignites even a faint spark of determination, that spark can be fanned into a blazing commitment by the time you reach the concluding words. It is one thing to want to break free from a trap, and quite another to decipher what kind of trap we are even dealing with. Emotional traps, for instance, can arise from unresolved childhood experiences or dysfunctional relationship patterns. These traps subtly dictate how we interpret reality, how we treat ourselves, and how we respond to others. Whenever an emotional trigger is set off, we might feel compelled to shut down, lash out, or retreat into avoidance. we might find that our very desire for connection paradoxically drives us into behaviors that sabotage genuine intimacy. When trying to eradicate such traps, clarity about their origins and nature is essential. It may be that a painful memory from years ago still influences your reactions, generating patterns that have become an unconscious routine. To break free from this particular snare, you must shine light into the dusty corridors of your emotional memory. Revisit the events or relational dynamics that gave rise to these persistent patterns, and recognize you are not fated to keep repeating them. One of the most common traps is the mental trap, often wrapped in self-limiting beliefs. These beliefs might have been passed down from parents or mentors, or they might have arisen from your personal experience with failure. For example, you might hold a belief that you are inherently unworthy of success, or that people with your background cannot accomplish certain goals, or that a particular career path is beyond your reach. These beliefs operate like silent rules in your mind, shaping your decisions long before you even consider taking action. They determine what you think you deserve and what you assume is possible. In order to eradicate such traps, you must first identify them. This can be more challenging than it seems because self-limiting beliefs are often invisible until we scrutinize the patterns of our own thoughts. Once identified, these beliefs can be tackled with conscious reframing. You begin to challenge the validity of each assumption, test it against evidence in your life, and start to replace it with a more empowering narrative. Social traps, in contrast, often involve the dynamics we have with other people. You might feel stuck in a particular group that does not support your growth or is entangled in negativity. You might be caught in a cycle of peer pressure that discourages authenticity, or you could be entangled in a work environment that drains your energy and passion. Social traps can also emerge from interpersonal relationships where manipulation or abuse is at play. In these instances, you can feel as if you have no viable escape. Yet by learning to assert boundaries and commit to your sense of self-worth, you begin to see openings where before there were only walls. The process is rarely easy because social ties come with layers of loyalty, history, and shared experiences. Still, your commitment to uproot a trap that suffocates your well-being can lead to decisive action, whether that is reducing contact with harmful individuals, seeking new connections, or establishing a firm stance that compels others to respect your limits. Each choice you make in asserting your worth chips away at the trap's foundation. Financial traps come in many forms. Debt, scarcity mindsets, and reckless spending patterns can all create a sense of drowning in obligations. The cycle of living paycheck to paycheck can wear away at self-confidence, undermining one's sense of possibility. When you decide it is time to eradicate such a trap, the first step is often to scrutinize your own beliefs and habits around money. Is there a deep-seated notion that you will never accumulate enough to feel stable or secure? Do you habitually spend more than you earn as a quick fix to relieve stress or anxiety? Are you stuck in a job that does not align with your long-term goals because the leap to a new opportunity feels too risky? Identifying the root cause of each behavior is the key. From there, you can design practical steps, such as creating a savings plan, seeking out mentorship for entrepreneurial ideas, or even exploring new career paths. The essence of destroying a financial trap lies in the persistent alignment of daily actions with a vision that transcends your current limitations. Each little victory along the way, whether it is paying off a small portion of debt or securing a better position, begins to unravel the web that once felt inescapable. There are also existential traps that go beyond the tangible. At certain points in life, you might feel a sense of purposelessness, a hollowness that undercuts your motivation to do anything significant. This trap can be rooted in disconnection from deeper meaning, or in the overwhelming swirl of global events that make individual effort appear trivial. To break this trap, you must remember that a sense of purpose is not always discovered, but often created. You carve out meaning in your life through the choices you make, the causes you adopt, and the people you impact. Instead of waiting for a lightning bolt revelation, you move forward by pursuing curiosity, by immersing yourself in projects that ignite your passion, and by contributing to those around you in a way that resonates with your core values. Eventually, what begins as small acts of curiosity and service can blossom into a fervent sense of purpose that dissolves the existential trap. Yet no matter the specific variety of trap, an underlying principle emerges. The mind plays a pivotal role in either reinforcing or dismantling it. The mind can be both your greatest ally and your most formidable adversary. It will tend to cling to familiarity, even if that familiarity is painful or constrictive. To break a trap, you must interrupt old mental narratives and old ways of reacting. You must move from a stance of victimhood to one of creative responsibility, acknowledging that while you cannot always control what happens in your external environment, you can absolutely control the meaning you assign to it and the next step you take. This shift in perspective is often referred to as an internal locus of control, where you see yourself as a proactive participant shaping your reality rather than a passive recipient of external circumstances. An integral part of this process is the development of discipline. Discipline is sometimes perceived as a rigid, joyless path, but true discipline, when aligned with your deeper goals, liberates you from the chaos of uncertainty and self-sabotage. When you commit to a morning routine that nourishes your mind and body, you are setting the stage for clarity and focus. When you choose to limit exposure to negative information or unproductive social interactions, you are preserving your mental energy for endeavors that expand your horizons. Each instance of discipline you practice weaves together into a robust framework, making it harder for traps to ensnare you because your center of gravity is firmly anchored. You become less easily rattled by failures or setbacks because your sense of self is fortified. Alongside discipline, resilience becomes another key virtue in the endeavor to eradicate traps. Resilience is your capacity to endure difficulties and bounce back stronger than before. Think of resilience as the muscle you build every time you push through discomfort or recover from defeat. Perhaps you have had moments in life where you took a leap only to fall short. The temptation is often to label yourself as incapable or to reinforce the notion that the trap was too big to overcome. But it is precisely in that moment of apparent defeat that you have a choice. Resign yourself to the perceived boundaries of the trap, or harness the lessons embedded in the experience to fuel your next attempt. The more you choose to rise, the less power any trap can hold over you in the long run. Another critical aspect is the environment. While inner work is paramount, your environment can either speed up or hinder your progress. If you surround yourself with voices that constantly highlight impossibilities, you will have to exert twice as much mental energy to maintain optimism. Conversely, if you regularly engage with communities or mentors who champion growth, who celebrate perseverance, and who remind you of your inherent capability, you will discover that traps lose much of their binding force. By carefully choosing the people, media, and ideas you interact with, you essentially shape a protective layer around your mind. In that space, the seeds of transformation can flourish. The environment also includes your physical surroundings. A clean, organized, and inspiring workspace can do wonders for your focus and motivation, which in turn play a crucial role in deconstructing the mental frameworks that keep you trapped. Action is what fuses all these components together. It is not enough to simply reflect on the nature of traps or shift your mindset theoretically. You must move, take steps, and do so consistently. This can start with small, almost trivial actions, like setting aside 15 minutes a day to develop a skill that will eventually open new doors. It can be sending out emails or making phone calls that you have been dreading. It can also be initiating difficult conversations to resolve misunderstandings or build healthier boundaries. Each act, no matter how minor, propels you forward. When repeated over time, these actions create momentum, and that momentum becomes the battering ram that breaks the trap wide open. Resistance is inevitable as you walk this path. There will be days when old habits feel comforting, or when outside forces appear more powerful than your desire to change. These moments can be excruciating, and doubt can creep in with a vengeance, whispering that you have overreached or that you should revert to the old way of living. Yet if you use these obstacles as proof of your perseverance, if you interpret each challenge as evidence that you are indeed on a transformative journey, you will find renewed motivation in the very obstacles that once threatened to derail you. It is a paradoxical but powerful shift. The trap, which once existed to confine you, becomes the catalyst that pushes you toward a breakthrough. Each time you override doubt, you accumulate evidence of your capability, and you diminish the hold that fear has over you. In your quest to eradicate every trap, you might also discover the significance of self-compassion. In the rush to transform yourself, it can be tempting to adopt a harsh stance toward your perceived weaknesses, chastising yourself for every slip-up. However, constant self-criticism can be its own trap, reinforcing the narrative that you are unworthy or perpetually falling short. Instead, self-compassion invites you to treat yourself with understanding and kindness, acknowledging that real change is often a gradual process that involves mistakes and detours. By offering yourself empathy, you remove the stigma of failure and open up space for genuine learning. This approach does not negate accountability. Rather, it ensures that you remain on your own side as you grapple with the complexities of growth. Another lens to consider is the role of gratitude. Though it might sound counterintuitive, acknowledging the good in your life, even while you feel trapped, can be surprisingly liberating. Gratitude shifts your focus from what is lacking or restrictive to what is abundant and supportive. This simple mindset shift can illuminate solutions you might have overlooked. When you dwell only on the negative aspects of a trap, your vision narrows and you become hyper-focused on limitation. Gratitude, however, broadens your perspective. Perhaps you are thankful for a particular skill you have, a friend who is willing to provide encouragement, or even a snippet of time each day to plan your exit strategy from a trap. By zeroing in on these resources, you enhance your ability to use them effectively, inching ever closer to the point where the trap collapses. It is also valuable to remember that eradication of traps does not mean you will never face hardships again. Life, by its very nature, is punctuated with ups and downs. But once you master the art of dismantling the traps that do arise, you gain a profound sense of confidence in your ability to navigate the unknown. You stop fearing the worst-case scenario because you have proven to yourself time and time again that you can adapt, learn, and conquer. You realize that personal power is not static. It is built layer by layer through every confrontation with adversity and every subsequent victory, no matter how small or large. Communication and honesty can play a critical role in reducing the likelihood of getting ensnared in new traps. By being transparent with yourself and others about your needs, limits, and aspirations, you decrease the risk of misunderstanding and manipulation. This openness might feel frightening at first, especially if you have been conditioned to hide your true feelings to maintain harmony. Over time, however, embracing honest communication can become one of your strongest defenses against entrapment. When people know where you stand, those who seek to manipulate or drag you down lose their advantage. You also benefit from clear alliances, like-minded individuals who respect your honesty and reciprocate with their own candor, thereby forming supportive bonds that uplift everyone involved. Even as you evolve, remain watchful for subtle traps. These might be disguised in the form of complacency, where you settle into a newfound comfort zone and stop pushing forward. Or they could appear as arrogance, where initial success lulls you into believing you are untouchable. In either case, vigilance and humility keep you grounded. You learn to see the process of trap eradication as an ongoing journey, rather than a finite destination. You can celebrate your triumphs, but you also remain curious and adaptable, aware that life has endless layers of lessons waiting to unfold. This openness ensures that each challenge you face in the future will meet a wiser, more prepared version of yourself. Throughout this unfolding path, the concept of balance becomes particularly relevant. While you focus on overcoming traps, remember to nurture moments of rest and recuperation. Burnout is itself a trap, one that can surprise even the most disciplined among us. By balancing effort with relaxation, introspection with action, and seriousness with play, you maintain the emotional and mental equilibrium needed to sustain meaningful progress. It might seem counterproductive to pause in the midst of intense pursuit, but periodic rest can grant you clarity and renewed vigor. After all, the mind often processes breakthroughs in moments of calm, rather than in moments of frenetic hustle. In essence, eradicating traps is as much about self-discovery as it is about achieving external freedom. Each obstacle you dismantle reveals a facet of your character and a capacity you might not have realized you possessed. It is akin to chiseling away at a marble block to reveal a sculpture within. The process can be messy, difficult, and at times overwhelming, but the result is a version of yourself that is increasingly authentic, purposeful, and resilient. If you can keep this vision at the forefront of your mind, then every sweat-inducing effort, every uncomfortable confrontation, and every stretch beyond the old confines of your comfort zone will feel worth it. As you emerge from this exploration, you carry with you a new awareness that any trap can ultimately be dismantled. The hidden cords of self-limiting beliefs, the binding ropes of toxic relationships, the walls of seemingly insurmountable debt, or the hazy confines of purposelessness, all share one characteristic. They depend on our participation to remain in place. Even if we did not consciously choose to be trapped, we retain the power to withdraw our compliance, to question the illusions that hold us, and to chart a new direction. By cultivating discipline, resilience, and relentless honesty, you can continually expand your perspective and intercept the internal mechanisms that keep traps functioning. It is also important to recall that breaking free is not merely an act of defiance against limitations, but a creative process of building the life you envision. Whenever you eradicate a trap, you do not step into a void. You open up a landscape of possibilities that were previously hidden. Into this space, you can introduce meaningful relationships, purposeful goals, and a sense of peace that was unimaginable when you felt constrained. The process transforms you from someone who felt powerless into someone who can thrive even amid difficulties. Where you once saw dead ends, you now see pathways, each step reinforced by self-discovery and trust in your potential. In many ways, the journey of breaking every trap is continuous, shaped by the inevitable flow of time and change. New phases of life bring new challenges, each with the potential to become another trap if you drift back into old habits. Traps are not a life sentence. They can be broken through the right combination of awareness, conviction, and adaptability. The process of eradication moves from a daunting possibility to a lived reality. Each time you demolish a barrier that held you captive, you are reminded of the extraordinary capacity you hold within. Let that realization be the beacon that lights the path forward. You possess what it takes to break every trap and eradicate any obstacle in your way, not by magic or luck, but by aligning your inner resources with purposeful action. This conclusion, far from a finale, is the stirring of a renewed vow to live with an unshakable conviction in your own freedom. And that is the most potent message you can carry out into the world, proving through your very existence that no trap is insurmountable when faced with unwavering resolve and clarity of purpose. Amen.